Hello, Kidney Warriors! James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach, and this is Dadvice TV Live. Now, we've talked many times about the different stages of kidney disease, and today we're going to take a deep dive into stage 4. Now, for those of you that are new, welcome. It's great to have you here. You're going to find us very supportive, very helpful, and very positive. Some of the things I lost my train of thought. See, this is live. For those of you that are new, my name's James. I have kidney disease. I was diagnosed stage 5, but I've focused on diet, lifestyle changes, eating right, being active, being healthier, and my labs over time have improved. And I've been able to eliminate all of my symptoms. Now, I'm right on the border of stage 4, stage 3 right now, because your kidney function, it actually changes. It even changes throughout the day. When you're drinking, it might improve a little bit, if you get properly hydrated, because maybe you're a little dehydrated. So I'm right around that border. I consider myself stable, though. But stage 4 is one of those stages where a lot of people start to run into some real challenges living with kidney disease. So we're going to talk a lot about stage 4 today, the symptoms, the treatment, risk factors, the diet that is very, very important. That's what's going to help you manage your symptoms, your overall health, and how well you feel. Now, to discuss this, we've got our co-host, an expert when it comes to eating right with kidney disease from Plant-Powered Kidneys. Welcome, renal dietitian, Jen Hernandez. Hey, Jen.
Hey, James. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing well this beautiful Tuesday evening. So good to be back.
And hopefully everyone's staying cool. Now, for those that are new, tell them about Plant-Powered Kidneys, because that is a great lifeline for kidney patients, especially those that are stage 3, stage 4, or even stage 5.
hmm Well, this really came about when I was working in dialysis for several years. I am a registered dietitian that's board certified in renal nutrition, and I became board certified in renal nutrition after those years working in dialysis and then also working with people who have chronic kidney disease not on dialysis. And it just really got to me when I would hear my new patients come into the dialysis clinic and say, I wish I would have made better changes. I wish I would have done something early on. And if I knew what I could have been doing, then I maybe would have had a different outcome than starting dialysis now. And that's what really inspired me to start Plant Powered Kidneys, because I'm a really big believer in the plant-based diet for everybody, and there's some differences between each of us as we're all our own person who we all have different needs and different requirements. But really, it's all about the plant-based diet that is focused around the new renal diet. So, not the old renal diet where people think of white bread and white rice and no bananas and no tomatoes or avocados. It's all about incorporating all of those colors, those fruits, those vegetables, and whole grains to really be supportive of our own nutritional needs and support kidney health. So that is how Plant Powered Kidneys came to be. And it is such an amazing foundation that has helped a lot of people in learning about the plant-based diet for kidney disease. So we do our 6-week online course, which right now we're kind of on a summer break, so to say, but all of our students that go through the course get lifetime access. So they know that we're going to be coming back and doing this again. And then we also help clients privately, one-on-one here in the United States with doing their own individual lab analysis, talking about their own nutrition needs, meal plans, all those sorts of things there that we do focus with the private clients. And then in the meantime, beyond all of that, we are on social media. We're on Instagram at plant.powered.kidneys. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and of course, our website, plantpoweredkidneys.com is the major hub of where all of our information, our weekly blogs come out, and more resources that are available. And then, of course, we have our Facebook group, which is about 5,000 members now. It is a private
Woohoo!
Facebook group. Yeah, it's a private Facebook group that we really focus on nutrition and different recipes. People share great pictures of the foods that they're making and different areas of ideas of how to incorporate more types of fruits and vegetables into the diet. So it's another great resource for the kidney warriors that are looking to start a more plant-based diet.
Awesome. And a plant-based diet, it may sound like a lot for some of you out there, like, holy cow, I can't give up meat. You don't have to go cold turkey. Just start working in some more veggies
Mhm.
and fruits and good things in there. And eventually you'll start substituting out and you'll eventually turn over to eating healthier and better. I'm 3 years into this now or so around there, and I'm not 100% vegetarian. I still get a little bit of meat here and there, but I don't miss it, and I eat so much better now, which is what has helped me to get my energy back and pretty much get my life back without kidney disease keeping me down and keeping me tired all the time. There was something important I was going to say, darn it, and it slipped my mind.
Well, I was going to add, even in the course, we've been doing these videos for about a year, a little bit over a year now, and I feel like we'll have these moments where you talk about these new fruits or vegetables that you're trying.
Mm-hmm.
So even
Oh
in your own
yeah.
journey, talking about trying something that you just hadn't really thought of before, or maybe weren't as familiar with, and you kind of learn more about them, which is always really exciting. As a dietitian, I love to see when people try these new fruits and vegetables and learn, even it's just a matter of learning. If it's not your favorite, you kind of learn, okay, well, maybe let me try
Oh
it this way.
yeah.
And you try different ways, and that's always really fun.
Yes. Oh, I remember what I was going to mention. I wanted to say it at the beginning. Okay, now everything we're going to talk about today, Jen has a blog about the things we're gonna discuss and so much more that we won't have time to get to. And there is a link down below in the description. So if you're new and you're taking notes as we're talking, you don't have to write that fast. We got a blog. It's got so much information, including some charts and food lists and all sorts of great stuff. The link is in the description of the video. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into talking about stage 4 kidney disease. Now,
Hmm.
and I see we have a lot of people that are new that just found out they are stage 4, so it's perfect timing for them. Um, what causes stage 4 kidney disease? Is there a cause?
Well, we know that there's a lot of different kinds of causes, and it's really not just one situation, or it's not just one thing where everybody can be categorized in this idea of, oh, if you have stage 4, it's because of this, that is across the board. We know that there are different functions related to our the endocrinology, so like
Mhm.
diabetes. There's our blood pressure. These are the top two causes of kidney related issues. But there's also our genetics, things that we can't always control. So some people are born with these inherited diseases that can cause kidney damage, and some people will have autoimmune diseases, and these are also things that we can't say are automatically developed, but maybe we're born with them, or it's just something that is a little less preventable. So there's so many different reasons as to why a person can be in stage 4, but it's really important to understand that not everybody, regardless of finding somebody else who has stage 4, there's no way you could have a comparison and have a parallel journey. And the
Exactly.
time, the progression, somebody can progress really, really fast, and some people might stay in stage 4 forever and never
Mhm.
progress either way. And they just could be maintaining at stage 4, but they could still have the same cause. They could still have the same genetic factors. I mean, there's so many variables, but we just can't, it's not a cookie cutter type of situation where we can say this will cause it, or this will cause progression, or this will not cause progression. So it's important to talk with your healthcare team, to talk with your nephrologist or your primary care doctor to find out what is directly impacting your stage 4 kidney issues, because It's something we've said here before. I tell it to my clients all the time. We've got to focus on the root cause. We've got to focus on whatever it is that is causing problems with your kidneys. And that's what we should really be paying attention to. So if you don't yet know what has caused your kidney issues, then it's a great time to readdress that with your nephrologist or with your primary doctor, either way. And I will say that there are some situations where they just don't know and
Mhm.
they can't be 100% sure because maybe you do have several health related issues. You could have high blood pressure and diabetes, and they may not know for certain which one caused that, caused the CKD. But it's good to have a really solid understanding about what's going on with your health related to that kidney health.
Yeah, and as soon as you can figure out what is the underlying cause, you can hopefully take action to manage that or control it and stop further damage. And then you
Hmm.
can focus on your overall health. If you discover that uncontrolled high blood pressure has damaged your kidneys and you don't get it under control, it doesn't matter how good you're eating or how long you're walking or anything, uncontrolled blood pressure will continue to do damage, which will take you from stage 4 down to stage 5. And one of the things I see a lot of is stage 4 is usually when people really start to notice the symptoms of kidney disease. It's when things are getting bad enough, it's starting to become noticeable. Now, I never noticed it. I for about 3 or 4 weeks, I had a lot of health problems, and then I was in the ICU, and I was at stage 5, considered kidney failure. Though my kidneys were still working, just not very great. So kind of that everyone's different, and our journey is different. Your symptoms, and we're going to talk about some of them today. You may not get them at stage 4. You may be one of those lucky
Hmm.
people, or you may get them a little bit earlier in stage 4, and they may impact you a little bit differently.
Something I've definitely heard from a lot of people is it's the symptoms can be kind of a slippery slope that you don't realize it's happening. You don't realize that you're getting fluid collecting. You don't realize that you're losing your appetite. You don't realize that you're losing energy and you're just getting more and more tired because it's kind of a gradual, it's not like a switch that's flipped and all of a
Mhm.
sudden you feel like junk. It could be just, oh, I'm not as hungry today. And then the next day, yeah, I'm still not hungry. And then it kind of carries on. And then you realize, wow, I lost a lot of weight. I'm not eating really well. And that, as a dietitian, poor appetite is a symptom. That is a symptom that something is going on inside
Mhm.
because your body is trying to take care of other things and it's not focusing on getting you food. It's focusing on addressing problems. So that is just one of those symptoms that we do look at when it, not even just CKD, but really in general. Always appetite is a good indicator of how we're feeling.
Mhm. Now, one of the things that I want to mention real quick that kind of bothers me about kidney disease and um, the stages are determined based on a calculation, your estimated glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, for those that
Hmm.
are new. If you fall into certain numbers, certain ranges, you are classified as certain stages. But the stages are just they're not really, when you look at the numbers, you're like, okay, right here is stage 3, this is stage 4.
Hmm.
That's not really how it works in the real world. um,
Exactly.
your GFR has a range. It fluctuates. It can go up 3 or 4 points, down 3 or 4 points throughout the day. So you've got this, you know 4 to 8 point swing. And someone who's a 29 is classified as stage 4, and someone who's a 34, they may feel the exact same, have the same
Hmm.
amount of energy, neither of them have any symptoms. So that's one of the challenges I have, or one of the things I dislike about accepting the stages. I
Hmm.
like to focus myself on how I feel, and I
Hmm.
find that much easier for me to manage and to deal with kidney disease as a kidney patient. But the doctors, they need these stages. They need a measure to say,
Hmm.
hey, when you fall in here, you're stage 4. These are what you're likely going to experience as we start talking about symptoms and risk factors and things like that.
Hmm. I totally agree with you. I think the GFR is, um, it just feels like it's becoming a little too clinical. And we talked about when people we focus too much on the numbers, and
Mhm.
you're more than just a number. No matter what stage you're at for CKD, that is not indicative of you, and it's definitely not indicative of how you're feeling or
Mhm.
what's going on with your body. It's just a piece of information, and we talk about these symptoms. And I have had clients that are stage 5, not on dialysis, that feel fantastic and have so much energy. And then I have another client, stage 3, that's just feeling totally drained and is not feeling well. And you would think, whoa, earlier stage shouldn't be feeling that much, later stage should be feeling more. No, it's not always the case. And that's again
Mhm.
why you are your own person. And just because you see that number doesn't mean you should or have to or definitely will feel a certain way or experience a certain symptom. It might not be the case. And that's what makes CKD so scary,
Mhm.
because there isn't a checklist that we can simply say, this is what will
Exactly.
happen, and then this is what will happen, and then this is like, that's just not always going to be the case.
So, any of you that are out there, you're stage 4, and we're going to talk about things. You're like, that hasn't happened to me. That hasn't happened to me. Or you're stage 3, and you're like, I get tired easy. That is completely normal when it comes to kidney disease. So,
Hmm.
let's talk about some of the risk factors at stage 4. Because stage 4, things are starting to get much more serious. I
Hmm.
know a lot of people stage 3, they live their entire life stage 3, no symptoms or only minor symptoms occasionally. But stage 4, we need to be focusing more on our health and taking it more serious so we can manage these risk factors and reduce any symptoms that we may have. What are some of the risk factors?
So, risk factors can be classified kind of in these different buckets, so to say, these different categories. So, there's risk factors from your underlying conditions, and the underlying conditions are essentially other health problems that you may be experiencing that can further damage your kidneys. And then there's the risk factors that we can't control. And then there's the risk factors you can control. So, first of all, we have the risk factors from underlying conditions. And those include, like I said, diabetes and high blood pressure or hypertension, top two causes of kidney damage. So, if you have any issues with your blood sugars and or your high blood pressure, you definitely want to be talking with your primary doctor about those numbers. And that should be an ongoing conversation. It shouldn't be something that stops if or when it becomes controlled or if you start a medication. It should always be an ongoing conversation with those doctors. Other types of underlying conditions, as I've mentioned, can be things like autoimmune diseases. It could be something that could be inherent genetic, like PKD, polycystic kidney disease. That can be an underlying condition that's causing damage to the kidneys. And it could be things even related to UTIs or kidney stones. Again, these other types of health conditions that can, if unmanaged, if unmonitored, can lead to damage from the kidneys or to the kidneys. So then we also have the risk factors that are out of our control. We can't do anything about these, and it's just something that we basically have to accept and move on from. And those are our genetics. We can't make changes to our genetics.
Mm-hmm.
Family history of kidney disease, which it still kind of surprises me when I talk with somebody who doesn't know their family history of health related issues. And if you can at least know about them, that's great. You can't change your family history, but you can at least become aware of any kind of health issue. If you have a family history of diabetes, that increases your risk of CKD. So, at least knowing your family history is something you can control, but you can't control exactly what that is. Some of the other risk factors are our age, our gender, our race, and ethnicity, which can increase in certain ethnicities. You can have a higher risk factor for developing CKD. But these are things that we cannot change ourselves. So it's something to say, maybe I am at a higher risk because of X, Y, and Z related to my own health history, my family health history, my ethnicity, something like that. And then say, okay, I understand that that increases my risk, but let's move on. Let's move on to the risk factors that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that really come down to lifestyle. So it's exercise, It's diet and how you're eating. It's if you're drinking alcohol, if it's too much, or if it's any kind of imbalance or messing with your medications. It's smoking. It is your weight management. And then, of course, what you're eating day in and day out. These things can make a big impact on your kidney health because, again, a lot of these other underlying conditions are also connected to our diet. So, understanding how these different factors can play a part, and then also learning which ones you can control, which ones you have to understand but just let go of, that can be really, really important in understanding your own kidney journey.
Yeah, and exercise doesn't have to be going to the gym, lifting a whole bunch of
Hmm.
giant weights, making those noises like you see those people doing. You don't do any of that. It can be going out, going for a 10-minute walk during lunch, a 15-minute walk in the evening just before the sun goes down. It's nice, cool. Gardening, playing with the
Hmm.
kids, just getting up and moving 30 minutes a day for 5 days. Oh, that does wonders for your body. And weight is one of those things that we all we can't control, but it is challenging. I understand you guys. I have a weight problem. Uh, I can eat so good and not eat the things I'm not supposed to. I just still eat too much. Um, Weight can be very difficult, but diet, thing I like about that and being able to control is, yes, I do control my diet. I get to make the choices every single time I reach for something to drink or I reach for something to eat. And by learning more about how my kidneys work and how different foods impact my body, I can make better choices. And that's how I see the diet, making better choices. It's not a don't eat this, don't eat that. It's, hey, make better choices. You want some of that? Maybe I'm going to eat a little less. That right there, if I want it, I can eat lots of it. It's green, it grows. I really like that I have control over my diet because with kidney disease, you kind of feel like you lost control of so much.
Hmm.
You get in your labs, you can't control what those numbers are, but I can control my diet. So I'm very
Hmm.
proactive with mine. Not my weight. My doctor still tells me I got to get my weight down. I'm working on it. It's a slow process.
It is, but that's okay. That means it's a smart and safe process because the fast, it's like the get rich quick schemes. The ones that are
Hmm.
fast, they're a scheme for a reason. So, any time that you're making these kind of lifestyle changes, it really is these micro changes that you're making. Just this one choice with this meal, or this one choice with this drink, or this one choice with, if you have 30 minutes in the afternoon, how are you going to spend that? Like all those little kind of decisions, those are
Hmm.
basically casting that vote. This is something I read from the book Atomic Habits, which is a really, really good book, very motivational. But you're kind of casting the vote for who you are, who you want to be, what kind of person you want to be. So it's just think about it in those little decisions of which vote are you casting for yourself.
I think that's a great way to look at it. I'm going to have to get that
Hmm.
book.
Oh, it's so
So,
good.
what are symptoms that are common, though not
Hmm.
always guaranteed to have, at
Hmm.
stage 4?
So, some of the most common symptoms that I've heard from clients include the energy draining. You just kind of don't really feel like yourself, and you're not able to keep up with a lot of your day to day tasks all the time. I hear a lot of complaints about some either trouble sleeping. That can be really very, very so much more common than we realize, and we don't necessarily connect it to CKD, but having sleep disruptions is very common. Having changes in your urination, of course, if you're noticing that you're not going to the bathroom as much, or it just doesn't feel like you're able to urinate as much anymore. And that can potentially tie in with another symptom, which is swelling. So if you notice that your feet or your hands, even your face are getting swollen from extra fluid, that is that collection, that buildup that the kidneys aren't able to release as much. There can also be things depending on like how your urine looks. It might have a different odor to it. There might be foam present. You might just have, some people do have back pain. I don't hear that all entirely common, but sometimes that is a possibility, especially if you have kidney stones. That's more so related to that. But that's another one that's potentially. common as well. And then there's kind of a brain fog. I hear a lot of people talk about not being able to concentrate, pay attention to things, and they just, again, they feel kind of out of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, of all the symptoms, for me, it's hard to separate stage 5 and stage 4 from my memory.
Hmm.
But the thing that bothered me the most and I found the most difficult to deal with was the fatigue.
Hmm.
It's a tiredness that you can't get rid of. A nap doesn't do anything for you. You are exhausted. You take a nap, you wake, you're still exhausted, and it's a lot of times it's because your body is kind of suffocating itself. You're not getting oxygen to all the organs, and you're suffering from anemia. That
Hmm.
one was a difficult one for me. And the not sleeping. Whoo! When I finally started to improve, I remember I remember sleeping longer, and it's like, oh my goodness, it was so exhilarating to get
Hmm.
to sleep through the night longer, not all the way through the night, but longer. And when I finally got my anemia under control and got my energy level, I remember one day, and I actually was on camera recording a video, and I realized, wait, I'm standing, I'm not tired. It just hit me suddenly, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I stopped the camera and I actually walked a mile. I went outside and I walked really fast, not like a
Hmm.
slow walk. I was like almost sprinting as far as walking goes. I was so excited to realize I've got my energy back, and I walked down to the end of the street and back, which is 1 mile right to the door. And I did that, and I was just so thrilled to be able to do that again. And it was like, wow. And it was from diet, get my blood pressure under control, taking care of things, making better choices, kind of
Hmm.
voting for my future self. And whew, I was so excited when that happened. I
Yeah,
still
that's
remember to this
really good.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I took my cell phone. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to walk. I feel so good. I'll call you, though, if I get down the street and I can't make it home. Because back then, that's what would happen. I would try to walk, and I'd go a little too far, and I wasn't
Mm,
going very far. But I would
mm.
just call my wife on the cell phone and sit down on the curb and wait for her to drive an eighth of a mile to pick me up and bring me home.
But you were smart about it and you walked, and I'm sure that's been
I
part of
kept
the
pushing. My doctor
progress.
said, be
Yeah.
active.
Yeah.
This is going to help you. It lets you clear your mind. It gets oxygen going. It's good for your body. And you know, it was challenging, but
Hmm.
as I got further and further, when I still remember clearly that day, standing in the room next door, when I realized, "Oh, I'm not tired anymore." And I practically had tears in my eyes. I felt so good.
Yeah.
And it's like what Cynthia right here is saying. It it showed me that I could change things. I could change the path of my
Hmm.
future. It was not set in stone.
Hmm.
Even though my original doctor said, "Hey James, your kidneys are bad. You're not going to get any better." I was, by staying very focused, and there was some luck involved. Not everyone can do that,
Hmm.
but I was one of the lucky ones that, by making the changes, my kidneys were not too far gone to
Hmm.
where I can get my life back for a while.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Now if someone does have these symptoms and they ignore them, their
Hmm.
kidneys continue to get worse. Maybe they've got a habit of smoking and they're not ready to stop that habit. They don't realize what
Hmm.
it's doing to them. What are some of the complications they may face as their kidneys continue to get worse?
Well, there is such a myriad of complications that can come up. And this again goes back to paying attention to what caused the kidney damage in the first place. There was another video that you and I did talking about all the different functions of the kidneys, everything that it's responsible for. So, if you want to, if anyone watching wants to make a note to go watch that video, those are the things, those are the functions that are at risk. But other complications that can come up worsen diabetes, worsen blood pressure issues, which can lead to cardiovascular disease, heart disease. It can lead to anemia. We've talked about that lower energy level. If it's not addressed, if it's not treated, it can lead to anemia. It can lead to mineral and bone disorder, which is, or abbreviated, it's CKD-MBD. And this is a very common complication from this imbalance with our bone health related to kidney disease. You can have, of course, nutritional changes because there's a lot of stuff out there that talks about what you have to eat and what you can't eat, and
Hmm.
following a lot of advice without realizing you're your own person can lead to nutritional gaps. So it's important to discuss with your healthcare provider, especially at stage 4. If they're referring you to a nephrologist, you should be seeing a dietitian too. That is just
100%
100%.
agree.
I mean, even stage 2, stage 1, you have great opportunities. Any stage has opportunity to make nutritional changes that can
Hmm.
better your health. And that's just not about me. I'm just saying, work with dietitians. If you have issues with blood pressure, find a cardiovascular dietitian, someone who specializes in heart health. If you have diabetes, find a dietitian that specializes in diabetic management, because these are the kinds of people that you're going to want to arm yourself with as you're focusing on making these changes, so that you have more confidence in knowing the steps that you're making, the changes that you're making are truly, in fact, in your best interest, and not on a whim, not on a guess of, I think this, or based on somebody else's plan, that it could be completely a total 180 from what you should be doing. So working with a dietitian, you will get your own plan for your nutrition to help prevent these kinds of complications. Another factor with that decline in kidney function, of course, comes the buildup of the waste and the toxins that the kidneys are supposed to be getting rid of, and these can result in neurological damages. This is something that is not always thought of, not always associated with CKD, but it really does have an impact on how our brain is working, how our body is reacting to things. So it's important to be aware of all of these potential risk factors and complications that can arise if it's not managed earlier on. And earlier on, CKD4 to me is still earlier because it's not dialysis. It's not kidney failure. It's stage 4 kidney disease.
Yep. And, kidney failure comes way, way down the road.
Hmm.
I'm looking at some of the comments that are going on, and I want to kind of take a little tangent and jump onto a couple of those. We have a few people that are having some challenges with kidney disease, um, and I think they're looking for some hope. Um, it is amazing to me now, looking back at how much I was able to change my health, the way I felt, and my future trajectory through diet. It's
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. And that all came from working with a renal dietitian. If I tried to do this on my own, and I did at the very beginning, I tried to do it on my own, things didn't go well. But as soon as I got with the renal dietitian, I learned how to eat. And I actually had a lot of different renal dietitians. In the beginning, I was like, one is not enough. I found one I liked. She said, "Oh, there's this other one that I work with. Oh, I'm going to get her too." They all had their own little specialty. I had
Hmm.
heart issues, high blood pressure, overweight, all these other things. So I got them all to help me, and I learned so much about how to eat, and we addressed all the symptoms, the things that were keeping me from feeling great, that didn't want me, that made me not want to get out of bed. I got my anemia under control, which was incredible. I started
Hmm.
sleeping better. I started, the small baby steps, exercising, trying to go to the mailbox. Eventually, I got there. Then I went a mile. Now I can walk 5 miles in a day, no problem whatsoever. It's just getting too hot for me, so I
Oh,
don't do it enough.
yeah.
But for anyone out there who's thinking like, "Oh, this is just, it feels like it's too much," or "I don't like the way things feel,"
Hmm.
um, finding the right resources, and a renal dietitian is one of the best, if not the best resource I can recommend for everybody. That lets you take control of things, and you may be able to get past these things that are making you feel down or not wanting to get up and be active. I just kind of wanted to take a little tangent there. I see Joan is having some challenges with her kidney disease and keeping focused on the future and a bright, nice, happy future. So
And
hopefully
I
that
think
helps you,
that's,
Joan.
yeah, I mean, I again, to kind of just carry into that thing we're talking about with, getting a dietitian. Again, the reason I started plant-powered kidneys was I got so tired of hearing people say, if only I did this. I mean, just regret after regret after regret. If only I made a change, if only I did something. And that's what we are all about with plant-powered kidneys, is helping you lessen this idea of regret. And I always tell everybody that we work with, I can never promise, I can never guarantee. Some of these companies, these other like nutrition, whatever, questionable, if
The
they
fake ones.
guarantee, yeah, if they guarantee any kind of result, it's bull. You can never guarantee, you
Exactly.
guys, at CKD. If there was a guarantee with CKD, it would be
We'd be talking
headlines
about it.
everywhere.
We'd promote it. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone would know
exactly.
about it all around the world. It
Exactly.
wouldn't be secret and only sold on a Facebook
Right.
ad.
Right. So we say we can never guarantee that you'll get X kind of result, but we what we can promise is that you're going to feel better. You're going to learn so much more
Oh,
and
yeah.
have a really a clear and confident path in understanding what you should be doing. And we hear this from clients time and time again about saying, I get it now after working together and seeing what I should focus on. And then also learning what to ignore, learning what to like not worry about. That's a huge part of it as well, because you guys know, with all the information that is out there, how can every single piece of information take top priority? How can everything be low? How can everything be high? How can it comes down to really understanding what is primary for you, what really needs to be the number one
Mhm.
focus, the number two focus, number three focus, and that's what a dietitian will do. And
Yeah.
you don't have to get a referral from your doctor to see a dietitian. It's good. It can be nice, especially if you want to use insurance,
Hmm.
but you can connect with a dietitian directly. You can go reach out to a dietitian that you see on Instagram or on Facebook, or a dietitian you see in your local community, and you can speak with them directly about, hey, I'm interested in learning more about the renal diet from you. And I guarantee that dietitian will tell you what they can do, or if that's not their thing, they can help you find another resource. We, as a dietetic community, we all came into this field to help people feel better with food and nutrition. And that is what we will do.
Yeah. and and it is it was amazing to me that when I first started working with a dietitian, they asked me a lot of questions. The very first session was a kind of a get to know me. What do I eat? What
Hmm.
do I like? What do I not like?
Hmm.
How active am I? And it was an honest conversation. She's like,
Hmm.
"Don't lie to me, because then I'm going to
Yeah.
recommend things you're not going to like. It's just you and me. I'm not going to tell your doctor how often you really exercise." I was like, "I don't ever exercise."
Hmm.
For me, it's just getting up, walking to the bathroom, walking to the kitchen to get something to eat. In the beginning, and she used all that plus my labs and my lifestyle. What did I want to be able to do? She asked me about things like that, my goals, and I was like, I wanted to be here for my kids. I want to be able to do things with my kids and not get exhausted. And and when I say she, that's multiple dietitians, they helped me find the right foods and the right portions. That's what was key to it. How
Hmm.
much to eat so that my body had the energy it needed, the nutrients it needed, which started reducing and then eliminated my symptoms over time. And it was life changing. So anyone out there who's
Hmm.
thinking like, oh, I know James keeps saying use a dietitian, I don't know. No, no, no. It is by far the best thing. You got to listen to your doctor, take your prescriptions, take your blood pressure
Hmm.
medicine, do all that. But everyone out there, no matter what stage, can benefit from at least a few visits with a dietitian, and especially stage 4, a renal dietitian, someone who specializes in kidney disease. It's life changing. They're going to help you figure out not what to eat, but how much to eat. Because the what to eat is not the right question. Can I have
Hmm.
oats? Can I have still cut oats? Can I have rolled oats? That's not the question to be asking. It's okay, I like to eat oats for breakfast. Based on my labs, how much should I eat? I like
Hmm.
to put strawberries on them. How many can I put on? Oh, okay, good. For lunch, here's what I like to eat. How much can I eat? That's what a dietitian teaches you.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there saying, no, 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 no. I love avocado. I love banana. I love tomatoes. Those are things that so many people are like, oh, they're off my list because I have kidney disease. They got potassium in them. It's not can I not have bananas? It's how much banana can I have? And it's going to be unique for all of us. So I know a lot of people are thinking like, but what should I be eating? That's not the question. It's how much of this thing.
Hmm.
These are what I like. How much
Hmm.
should I be eating? And that's where the renal dietitian is life changing. They're going to help you still eat the foods you like, maybe not as much of them. And they're also going to say, hey, James, you want cucumbers? Go crazy. Eat as many as you want. Here's how to make some good dips for them. Oh, broccoli, fantastic. Here's what you can do.
Yep,
Uh,
exactly.
it was just unbelievable.
Hmm.
So hopefully
Yeah,
that
and
helps a few of the
that's what
people
you'll
that
get with that one-on-one.
yeah, I saw some questions about what should I eat. Hopefully that helped. It's not what should I eat, how much of this that I like to eat
Hmm.
can I
Hmm.
eat?
Hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and that dietitian, okay, I'll get off my soapbox. I cannot talk enough about how important and helpful working with a dietitian is, especially the lower end of stage 3, 4, and 5.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, we only have about 15 minutes left. So I'm kind of looking at your blog to see what all we want to make sure we get in here. Um, Yolanda
And
says,
for
I don't
the
know what to
just
eat. I'm very scared. Don't be scared, Yolanda. Food is not your enemy.
No.
There's two foods to not eat. Don't eat star fruit. It's got a
Hmm.
neurotoxin, not good for us. And don't be going crazy with a whole bunch of black licorice. Other than that, it comes down to how much can you
Hmm.
eat based on your health, your labs, and where you want to go, where you want to be in the future.
Yeah. And for the record, I do have, I made a brand new free 7-day meal plan on the article that we're covering tonight about stage 4. So you can go there and download the 7-day meal plan to get some different recipe ideas. It comes with a grocery list and a meal plan. It comes down with the nutrition information for each recipe, each the servings of the recipe, as well as the meal plan. Each day has a total. So it kind of shows you how they add up. And it is hopefully it's very enlightening into seeing some foods that you wouldn't think that you're allowed to have, but again, realizing, okay, well, this only amounts to this much potassium, or this whole
Hmm.
day only amounts to this much protein, which with stage 4 you might have that's some of those things that we need to look at is the nutritional components related to labs. And this is again really where it gets into that personalization. It gets into the one-on-one that you can only get that answer. I can't answer that in the Facebook group. I can't answer it
Hmm.
in our course. I can give the guidelines, but I can't say this is how much you should eat, because that involves a personal assessment, just like you were talking about, James, having that
Yeah.
whole session. My first session with my new clients is 90 minutes. We spend 90 minutes talking about all of that stuff, looking into the history, looking into preferences, looking at goals, and that's where we get going. But that's not where it stops, because we continue to work together on practicing new eating habits, practicing new recipes or new cooking techniques, all that kind of stuff. But if you want an idea of what a 7-day plan could look like and to get some more recipes, you can go to plantpoweredkidneys.com and just click on the blog, and it'll bring you to the list of our blogs. The one that is about stage 4, which is what we're covering tonight,
Hmm.
does have the area for you to get that download for free.
Yeah. Now, speaking of foods, because that's always the
Mhm.
biggest challenge, especially for those that are new to kidney disease, what are some of the foods that I may want to make sure to include in my diet when I am stage 4?
So it's going to be really, really important to eat fruits and vegetables. And I know you probably hear that. You've probably heard that from your mom. You've heard it from your teachers. You've heard it from your doctors. You've heard it from everybody. Um, Fruits and vegetables are not the enemy. They are packed with so many nutrients. And yes, they do include potassium, which is something to be aware of with CKD, but it's not a less is better mentality necessarily, especially with, let's say, blood pressure issues, for example. The reason the DASH diet is so popular for blood pressure is not only is it low in sodium, but it's high in potassium. Potassium is really, really good for our heart health. And that is something that you want to balance and really understand well when it comes to your own renal diet. But even including fruits and vegetables that are low in potassium, that's a great way to get more variety in while keeping your potassium budget a little bit more in check. So first of all, fruits and vegetables, definitely a whole group that you want to include. And then another group that I like to think of are the spices, herbs, the different
Oh,
types of
yeah.
flavors that you can add, right? And we don't really think of it as a food group per se, but you and I, we've had so many conversations where we talk about just making the changes to the flavor alone, just the spices
Changing up
alone.
the spices can take the same ingredients and make a completely
Hmm.
different meal.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. So really paying attention. Don't sleep on those herbs. Don't sleep on those spices because those are gold when it comes to learning more about foods that you enjoy. And that's such a great thing to see that you can take the same types of foods, add some different spices to it, and make it a completely different meal. So that would be another group, another area that I like to focus on. Another one is plant proteins. So stage 4 is going to be looking at that lower protein diet, and the low protein diet is a conversation that we have had here before. We'll definitely be talking about it again in the future, but plant proteins are definitely something to be thinking about with your plant-based diet. And kind of just a tangent about that really quick. I'm not talking about finding a lot of the plant-based substitutes that you can see in the freezer section or wherever. I'm not talking about the processed things that are
Those
made
are
to
loaded
look
with
like,
sodium.
yeah, you got to be careful with those. And it's not that you can never have them, but I would definitely say to be careful with them because it may not necessarily be the wisest alternative. So we always talk about what can you add to the plate? What can we get more of? And that would not be one of those things. But plant proteins like your soy and tofu, edamame, tempeh, even those are types of plant proteins. Beans, legumes, those are things that you can include in the diet, and that will be really beneficial and provide some great nutrients for you as well. But just be careful with some of the other um, products, I would say. It's not that you can't have them, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you want to be aware that they're, think of them more like a side rather than the main dish.
Mhm. And then high fiber is very important. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to a new doctor that will hopefully be coming on here in the future about some new research about just how important fiber is in our diet. And in the beginning, if you guys go back and you watch those old videos of me when I looked real sickly and I was stage 5, my doctors worked with me and ramped up my fiber over time to a really
Hmm.
high fiber diet. And looking back, I'm like, wow, I think that really did play a big role in helping me to get to where I've gotten. Now I'm not eating as much fiber as I should. Shame on me. I'm ramping it back up to where it should be, to where it's supposed to
Hmm.
be. I'm
Hmm.
below where I'm supposed to be. But fiber is an important one. And I'd like to touch quickly on those healthy fats because there's so much
Yeah.
bad stuff on the internet. I had an email this morning about how wrong I am and that no one with kidney disease can have any oil. And I just respond and let them know, hey, I think you're misunderstanding your renal dietitian. I know in my mind they're not working with a dietitian because no
I was
dietitian
gonna
would
say
tell
we
them
we
that.
wouldn't promote that.
Exactly. I give them the benefit of the doubt. They're just misunderstanding
Yeah.
their dietitian. But can you talk briefly about those healthy fats, which are important for us at stage 4 and all the stages?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were just talking about olive oil versus avocado oil, and it's like it's not really a versus. It's just what do you have in your pantry? What do you have on hand? What do you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
using? Because they both provide great healthy fats, which we're talking about these complications that can come up from CKD kind of in the later stages, and some of it's heart disease. And having a healthy heart means having healthy fats that are protective of our cardiovascular system. So having the monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats, these are really, really good. And another big factor is when you want to have more energy, you've got to give your body more energy. So many, many times I see people who have just not been eating anything because they're so scared to eat. But healthy fats are a great way to add some more calories to that plant-based diet because lettuce and cucumbers and zucchini and tomatoes aren't going to provide you a ton of calories, but your body needs calories. So these healthy fats really pair well with a plant-based diet because it's giving you a really good source of energy that your body can use in the long term. Carbohydrates are the first source of energy that our body uses, and then those healthy fats are also another good source of energy. So if you're worried about healthy fats, for one, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the research and see exactly how much research is out there that is showing evidence that a no fat or no oil diet is beneficial for CKD because that's going to give you an idea about exactly where the research is going. And the research is more so showing that these healthy fats are truly beneficial for CKD. So I am a huge proponent of finding good healthy fats to add into
Mm-hmm.
the diet that will give so many benefits.
Yeah, and the whole healthy fat thing is. I was talking to Jen earlier today about a conversation that I saw two people kind of going at it in a message forum. One was pro olive oil, the other was pro avocado oil, and they were being pretty cruel to each other and which one is
Mm,
better. They're both good. Pick
yeah.
one. Whatever you have, use it. Use them both. Use olive oil one day, avocado oil the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's interesting, and there's other things to
Hmm.
focus on than which oil is the right oil. Um,
Hmm.
we are about 5 minutes till. Is there anything you want? There's so much more in the blog. Is
I
there anything
know.
you want to
Yeah.
make sure that we touch on before we run out of time? Or have there been
I
any
would say,
questions you saw and asked that you might want to answer in the chat?
um, oh, it's a whole other thing. Well, I would say social media, and I have a love-hate relationship with social media sometimes. I love that we can be connected, but I hate the misinformation that goes out into the world. And for those of you in the Plant Powered Kidneys Facebook group, I think you guys know how cautious I am, and I really do try to do it with the best intentions possible. Um, Make sure you're having conversations with your healthcare team. When you're in stage 4 CKD, you have great opportunities, but you don't have time to be asking people online about what they did because there's no guarantee that what they did will be good for you. Your healthcare team and if you don't if you don't have that type of relationship, that type of connection or trust with your healthcare team, go get a second, a third opinion. Go find another practitioner until you find somebody that you really, really feel good about, because there's too much on the line for you to be questioning things. And it is really about having that healthcare team that you feel really good about. So talk with your healthcare team. Make sure you get your referral. In stage 4, that's typically when people are referred to a nephrologist. I actually learned this not too long ago, that even stage 3, it doesn't automatically trigger a referral to a
Correct.
nephrologist. It's stage 4. So at stage 4, you should be referred to a nephrologist, and you should be referred to a dietitian if you haven't already. But that is such an area of opportunity to get in the door working with somebody who will give you straightforward answers and straightforward advice and really help you out with exactly what to focus on, rather than questioning what people say, getting into avocado versus olive oil debates, things like that. You don't have that time to be wondering about that. You want to take advantage where you're at now, because again, we can never guarantee any kind of results, but I don't want you saying, none of you watching, recorded, live, whatever, I don't want you saying, if only I did this, if only I did that.
Hmm.
So, I mean, regrets are no kind of regret. Nobody wants that. So that and I'm not very good with words. So I oftentimes have a hard time articulating this, but oh man, you guys, I mean, it just really it makes me speechless. Some of the things that I've heard of people saying their regrets, and I don't want you guys to have that. It absolutely breaks my heart. I remember meeting a new patient who was like, "Oh, I knew I was going to be here," and he was mid 20s, and he said, "I knew I was going to end up here. My mom's over there, my uncle's over there. Just
Oh.
this is yeah, yeah." And it's just, it doesn't have to be that way, but you have to take advantage of the opportunity that you have. Not everybody gets that CKD4 diagnosis. Not everybody learns about it ahead of time. So become an advocate for yourself, for your
Hmm.
family. Again, family history. If you learn that you have CKD4, your family has an increased risk. Your immediate family, your kids, your grandkids have an increased risk for CKD4 or CKD. And be that role model in taking care of yourself, taking care of your kidney health, finding that healthcare team that you will be really excited to work with, and that you'll feel really good about getting those answers. So, I mean, I know there's so much information on the blog, and I knew, once again, I knew we were never going to get through all of it. But it's
The
there for you
page is
guys.
like this big, and we got like this much through the blog, like
I know.
20% of the information.
And I was condensing it last week too. Like, how can I get this a little bit smaller?
One thing before we run out that I want to kind of piggyback on what you said. Stage 4, your future is not written in stone. You can live for decades at stage 4. Remember, when I was diagnosed,
Hmm.
GFR8, my goal of my doctors, the ones that were going to help me, said, look, let's get you to GFR19. We can hold you there for at least a decade. We can get you to GFR19 and keep you there. We can
Hmm.
manage your symptoms there. You'll be able to do all the things you want to do, go to Kings Island with your kids, all that stuff. I made those changes. I focused on diet and being healthy. Really, that's what it was, being healthy. I got to 19. I got into the 20s. I got to 30. I got to 33. And now I'm pretty much stable right in there, around 29 to 33. It just kind of bounces up in there. Your
Hmm.
future, you still can impact and change what that is. So if you are stage 4, don't feel that stage 5 is the next step for you.
Hmm.
You could live a long time with and manage symptoms at stage 4, or if you get lucky, maybe you'll even make it to stage 3. Who knows? The only way to find out is to try. And that was kind of
Hmm.
my approach.
Exactly.
I'm gonna try. I shot for stage 2. I didn't make stage
Hmm.
2, but I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us all the way to the top of the hour. We kind of got a little bit off topic today, but we had a lot of great conversations in the chat, and I hope that the things we talked about help those that are there. There's a link to Jen's blog on plantpoweredkidneys.com. I'll bring it up here on the screen. There's a link in the description, or go to plantpoweredkidneys.com. There's a button that says blog right at the top. That'll take you to all the blogs. She has a great search. You can also find all of Jen's past shows here on dadvicetv.com, along with a bunch of other information from other industry experts that have come on. I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick. It is getting very ugly outside here in Cincinnati. Really? I don't know if this is picking up all the thunder that we have had. It is thundering like crazy. It is bad, and it is now, I cannot see the trees in the front yard. It is raining so heavy here.
Oh, wow.
So I want to thank everyone. I will be back in 2 nights with Lana Leip. She is a therapist and a social worker. We're going to do another show. We're going to talk about anxiety, being around friends, co-workers, and things like that while you have a chronic disease like chronic kidney disease, how to kind of handle. Wow, that was a big lightning there and thunder. But she'll be here 2 nights on Thursday. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you, Jen. And I will see all of you in the next video. Bye, everyone.